this is what success looks like. It was a little experiment I did this year. I've never done this before. I took a hive out to the swamps of panhandle of Florida in an attempt to get some Tupelo honey. And like I said, for me, was successful. Didn't get a lot, but got enough to make me happy. Supposedly this year was a bad year because of Hurricane Michael. Apparently it sent the trees into kind of a panic mode, so they were blooming at all sorts of random times as compared to normal, where it's like a deep concentration bloom in late April, early May sometime. But like I said, I collected some, so I'm really happy with what I was able to collect. Might do it again next year. It's kind of a long drive out there, but this is a little video of I put together about my collection, my extraction process, and a little bit of bottling. This is what I look like when I'm transporting my bees. I get them loaded up in the back nice and secure with some straps. Right now we're headed out to Tupelo country to collect some of that liquid gold. In the woods, got one hive we're dropping off. Tupelo bloom starts supposedly in about 2 weeks, but we're going to drop them off, come back in about 2 months, month and a half at least, 2 months, after mid-May, a little after mid-May maybe, to collect the hive. And we're hoping for, right now I've got 2 empty, completely empty supers on here. These are medium, so they could hold 35 pounds each if we really get a good bloom this year and they really fill up. But I've always heard that Tupelo is a short season and therefore you don't collect too much honey from it. So I think this is a little ambitious, having 2 boxes on here. Maybe I should have just done 1, but I'm 4 hours away, so I'm not gonna be driving here all the time checking the hive. We're dropping it off today, and I'm probably not going to see it for another month and a half, month at least anyway. So here they are. Show you the bees, and we'll get out of here. Get out of their hair. What we're looking at here is a medium frame, fully capped of, this is Tupelo honey from the panhandle of Florida. It's in this room where I do my extracting. I'll go over my tools real quick. In the corner over here I've got this space heater, which I got on the internet. That little space heater can keep this little hallway at about 100 degrees, actually a little over that, if I'm really good and put towels at the base of each door, close it off real good. This is a extractor I got off the internet as well. I'll put a link in the description. It's a Vivo, does a great job. It's got a variable speed over here. It's an 8 medium frame or 4 deep frame. I guess 8 smalls as well, but does a great job. It's got a spout on the side, so once you get everything extracted you can pour it into a bucket easily. It's also got legs, which I don't use. You can see, well maybe you can't see, but it's sitting on the ground. The reason I don't use the legs is because I don't have any place to mount it permanently, so I just keep it on the ground. Once it's full, not full, but once I get it about where the honey is reaching, about to reach the axle, I'll lift it up, I'll put it onto two medium frame or medium supers, so it's high enough that I can put it in or dump it into one of these 2-gallon buckets. I get these 2-gallon buckets from a hardware store. I probably can find them on the internet. I'll put a link in the description. But this is how I do it. I'll grab a frame out. I'll take my hive tool, get all the burr comb off, and then I'll use a decapping tool, decap, put all the cap in this pan over here, put the frame into the extractor, and once I've got 8 in there, I will let her eat. This thing, I'll start it off for like 5 minutes at a slow speed, and then I'll pick it up a little bit. Once I've done that for like 10 or 15 minutes and I see there's not much else slinging onto the sides, I'll stop it. I'll put this frame in this frame spot, and this frame in this frame spot. I'll do that all the way around, and then I'll go through the same process, and I'll run it through about 5 minutes slow, and I'll pick it back up. So I'm into it for about 30 minutes maybe for each set. Once I've got it all nice and extracted, I'll lift this thing up, put it on 2 medium honey supers so that can sit under it. I'll put these screens. It's you can get them online. I'll put a link in the description. There's these screens that you can get to pour the honey through into that, and it just strains out. It's 2 different filter levels, and it'll strain out the big particles. So you're getting basically, you know, it's I guess you could call it unfiltered because it's not like a thick, it's not like cheesecloth or anything, but it takes out all the big particles or the big pieces of wax that got left behind in there, and then you're left with some, you know, pretty clear, delicious honey. This is my setup. It works for me. If I had a bigger area to set up, I would love to have this thing mounted permanently and just have everything ready to go. But I've only got a couple hives right now, so it works for me. This is my cleanup process. After I've extracted, I bring everything outside, put my frames back in some medium boxes, stack them on some Tupperware container with a base around them filled with water to prevent any ants from coming up in here and joining the fun. I've got my cappings over here sitting on a grill, and I've got my extractor. They really have a hard time with the extractor because I think because it's such a confined space, they're not very good at getting in and out of, or they're good at getting in, but they're not always good at getting out. So sometimes it gets stuck in there and they'll fall in the honey and can't climb out. But they'll do a really good job of cleaning everything up. So if you're extracting and then you're not going to be able to use these frames for a little while, it's a really good idea to let the bees clean them all up. So when you store, you don't have as much of a problem of pests getting in there. This is where I do all my bottling. I get these bottles on the internet. I make my labels on my printer. I use Word and PowerPoint to make my labels. Just find a picture that I've taken of something that's relevant. This one I call Jim's Deep Swamp Florida Tupelo, and it says May of 2019 on the bottom. I'll put a link to these little bears in the description. These are just ball jars. I think they're 12 ounce, but if you weigh out the honey, I think it weighs about 10 ounces, so maybe 12 ounces by volume, I don't know. But after I fill up the bucket, I've got this little spout on here, and it's fairly simple to fill these things up. This is Tupelo. Ooh. Simple as that. Once it starts to quit draining, I've got a chair down here with like a paper towel on it. Flake it off. There we have it. Some of Jim's Deep Swamp Florida Tupelo from May 2019.